Okay, listen. Before we start the show, I just want to say, let's get some hype going. You know, let's try to get a little bit excited. We can't have all this dead air between us. Okay, so let's just do some vocal exercises. Okay, let's just do some vocal exercises together. All right, everybody repeat after me. Rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Attaboy, Data. Come on, everybody.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Me, my, mo, me.
Baby rubber bumper baby.
Me, my, mo.
Yeah, get loose. Get in there. Get
brown
funky. Somebody make a joke.
Anyway.
You had to be there.
Yep. Anyway, let's begin the cast. This is the Loose Screws podcast, and it's happening to you again. Oh.
We don't know why you
makes it sound like a disease.
I honestly, you're to blame at this point, not me. So
they make a cream for that.
It's the 12th of June in 2023, 3309.
It's 3309.
Yep.
It's kayfabe.
Okay. And as I say, this is the Loose Screws podcast. I'm Commander Jay on Tracks. We've got a nice round table going tonight. I'm going to start at the top to welcome Commander Bloomingwind.
Motrtee.
Commander Larkshadow.
It said Motrtee.
Commander Lieutenant Commander Data Esquire.
Hello.
Commander Nurgle.
Hello.
And Commander Tef. Is it just Tef now?
Well, I mean, we'll get to that, but Who the fuck? Who has a round table? Are any of you sitting on a round table? What is he talking about?
My wife's at the round table right now.
Table, dancing.
Yeah, I'm sitting at a corner desk. What round table are you talking about?
It's what you call it when a group of people have a discussion. It's a round table discussion.
Round.
It's like a metaphorical table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just I don't know. Is this count as an idiom? It's just thing.
We're sitting at the round table in your mind's eye.
It's something that starts with an I. I think it's a literary allusion because it's referring to Camelot, but
okay.
If this is Camelot, who's Arthur?
Tracks.
All right.
Well, Chig's not here, so I guess I don't know. I don't even know where this is going. Continue.
Yeah, I have.
It is still Teflon, by the way.
It is still Teflon. Okay.
Yeah, the Japanese letters after my name in the Discord is or whatever they call them, kanji or whatever. That spells Teflon. Well,
that was probably the most redneck way to say kanji I've ever heard.
Kanji. It's all that kanji that they speak over there. And over in Japan.
Oh, no.
Gosh.
It actually spells Tefburon. Because at least that's what it says on Google Translate.
Right on. Okay. Well, I have an insane story to tell, and I'm going to save myself for last. And as far as the what the hell's been happening. So who is top or bottom? Somebody flip a coin.
I don't have a coin.
It landed on Tails.
It landed on Tails. Teflon, how you been? What you been up to? Tell me, spin me a yarn.
Just busy. But still just reading stuff, and I do find some time to play some games. Like I did play this game a little bit this week. I haven't done hardly any on foot stuff. It's very little. In fact, I only ever have gotten out on foot to take pictures when I'm out exploring, and I hadn't been exploring since I went out on Roy's little expedition that he did south that me and Dubs went on. And I would only get out for pictures. So I'm going to go through, finish going through the tutorial for on foot stuff and try to get an idea of what I'm doing and how everything works. I guess it's been long enough since I launched to finally, do something with it. Also, I have started flying around to the what are they called? Generation ships to hear all their stories, because I've never done that, and I know we were talking about it. It's been a couple months ago, I think, when it first got brought up. But yeah, it's something I've been wanting to do, and so I started doing that. And I've only been to I think 2 of them so far. I'm looking forward to going to the others and seeing reading the stories they have. It'll be fun.
Yeah, lots of good stuff there.
I've also been playing Sturden. I know I've showed that game to you guys before, but if you don't remember, it is a 2D side-scrolling space shooter game, shoot 'em up. It's a lot of fun, and it's great for just I have 10 minutes. I want to sit and kill 5 or 10 minutes. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, I need more. I need 10-minute games. I don't have much of that. Good deal. I honestly, I haven't been asking, but I don't have a clue what you guys have been on about for days now with this.
Look, it started with Adaxius. That's all you need to know. Move on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my boy.
Love you, Daxius.
What? Oh, you're right. You seem to have gone out of that.
There I am.
Oh, it's back.
I don't know what happened.
All right, maybe I'll use Craig. We'll see. It was working and then it stopped, so we'll see how it goes.
I don't know how much of that it caught of what I said it caught. So
I was watching for most of it, so I think it hopefully was just the end, but I'll check it. It's right at the beginning. So
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone.
No. If this thing gives me any trouble, I'm going to switch to Craig back up anyway. We just have it basically, it still runs the soundboard. So anyway.
Motrtee Stete.
Motrtee.
It's like Hakuna Matata.
Motrtee Stete.
Stete. I like Stete. That's definitely correct. I don't know about Motrtee.
Hakuna Matata.
Stete.
I have dyslexia. Okay. Your mileage may vary.
I like Stete or Stete. Anyway, where's that leave us? Nurgle. I know you have a story for me.
I do. First off, game-wise, been doing a lot of BGS. We got plenty of stuff going on. We'll cover that in the squad update. My wife had surgery last Friday on her hand. She had some bone spurs in her hand, so she's miserably paralyzed on one side of her body at the moment. But you don't know how much you need both hands until you don't have both hands.
Yeah,
there are so many things things that we didn't really even think of until she got home, and she goes to the refrigerator and wait a minute, I can't open a bottle.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to get soft drinks in cans.
You see her in there with a butter knife trying to get under the lid. It's like, wait.
Yeah. But and at work we went live with a new information system today. So we had plenty of anticipated growing pains. The worst of which was, so it's a work order and inventory system that's all encompassing, and half the damn city uses it. But the primary reason this particular piece of software was selected 2.5 years ago when they started this process was that it had the ability to download all of the important information it needed to a handheld device like an iPad or something and then go into an offline mode. So you could cache all of your data on it, go out in the field, do what you needed to do the updates, and then when you got back into connectivity, it would just transmit its data, which is how a large number of people operate. So, my department, along with a whole bunch of other people, went out and bought non-cellular equipped iPads for this very purpose. Because why are you going to pay a cellular bill when it'll just reconnect when you go back into Wi-Fi? Anyway, so
Definitely.
we rolled Cruise out this morning after 15 minutes of syncing up. Got him out in the field and found out that our IT department, and it is our IT department, it's not the software company, had made the decision to set the idle timeout on the software at about 15 minutes. And at that idle out applies even in offline mode.
Excellent.
So that the piece of software that is not communicating over the internet goes idle for 15 minutes and forgets how to communicate.
So you have to play with your iPad while you're driving.
And so when we brought this up on a noon call, because I had my guys calling me from the field telling me, hey, I'm locked out of the app and I can't sign back in. We brought this up on the noon open hours problems call for day one going live, and we're told that they made the decision to set it at 15 minutes. And we went through all the reasons why 15 minutes is insane, because it's not uncommon for our guys to get out of a truck and go work on something for 2 hours before they come back to the iPad. And IT's response to that was, can't they just go back and tap the iPad every 15 minutes?
Oh my goodness.
Good Lord.
No.
Oh my gosh, they're so out of touch.
So can we change the timeout? Well, it can be. The people from the company said you can set the timeout to whatever you want. You can even set it to never timeout. That's entirely up to the end user, but it's one setting for the entire domain that the app runs in. So the whole city would have to go with the same setting. And I said, so what's the problem with setting the timeout to like 4 hours? Well, there are other people that would just sit there with it open. And
What?
That's a problem. Why? Well, security. Oh, please don't. That's when I stopped talking. I kind of looked across the desk at my boss and said, "You're on your own here." My next sentence is going to get me fired. So we left it this afternoon with, well, we'll consider our options.
Just return all the iPads to them, dump them on their disk, be like, here. We don't need these.
I'm with Data.
That's an entirely different conversation, because I have 16 guys in my crew. Ask me how many iPads I have in my office. 16.
How many of them what?
Why? Because according to IT, every iPad must be registered to one and only one individual, and nobody else will ever touch it. So the guy I have that works one weekend every 3 months, but when he's there on the weekend, he'll have to be able to do things on an iPad, has to have his own iPad. And in between those 3 months, actually it's 11 weeks, but in between those 11 weeks for his rotation, he'll never touch it. Because his crew chief will do everything. Because our suggestion when we started out was just have like a department iPad, a number of department iPads, and then people just sign into the app as they need to.
Obviously, because that's how everything works. Right.
But no. That's an iPad. It's got internet connectivity. We have to be able to trace everything it does back to a specific human being. So if it touches something naughty, we can rain fiery death upon them.
But can't they do that based on the login?
See, now you're speaking tech-ese, you're speaking logic, you're not thinking like an IT guy.
I mean, they could do it based on the login if they wanted accurate data, but if they wanted inaccurate data, they could do it based on the physical device so that someone else could just pick it up and do who knows what with it.
But what is the path of minimum conceivable resistance here?
Depends if you consider money resistance.
It's for the IT guy who's not spending money on the iPad. What is the path of minimum resistance? Everything is tied to the individual device. It's stupid as hell. It is absolutely insane.
That's magnificent.
I'm telling you, I will tell anybody who asks, including the mayor, I don't understand how the city keeps the lights on. I really don't. Because it's like they actively try to fuck things up.
They probably keep the lights on because someone straight up forgot to turn them off.
It's absolutely by accident that things continue to work. But that's the you have a device that's supposed to be able to work offline but times out after 15 minutes.
Jeez.
I lack the words to really articulate how stupid that is. But with all apologies to our present IT geeks, that's what you get when you deal with IT people who can't think. That's just...
Yeah.
That's rough.
And today is going to be another day of the same. So it's going to be a fun week. A really fun week.
Ugh.
Yeah. So Data, what's happening with you?
Oh, not much. Elite has further killed my spirit to play the new mission types with all the bugs and crashes and whatnot. More than 50% problem rate now. So, still playing that Death Stranding. Had a fun little trip up to an amusement park called Kings Island last week. That's not too far from a few of us in the crew here. Just got to ride a bunch of big roller coasters.
That's a very short
and all
drive
that.
from my house.
Yep. Lots of big coasters. So that's a lot of fun. So yeah, had a decent week overall.
Good. This is the Data and I we're kind of following the don't say it if it's not going to be. Don't say it if it's going to be a bummer.
Yeah.
I know where he's coming from. So yeah. Anyway, we made a point to fill this room with voices that could have a little bit more of a good time. So anyway, cool. Lark Shadow. Hey. You're always cheery.
I am. I've had a crappy Monday though. Here's a small. Let's see how short I can do this day in the life of someone with severe ADHD. So this morning I woke up and I'm getting dressed and stuff and didn't want to bother my wife and turn on the lights to find socks. So I turned on the flashlight camera on my cell phone, stuck my cell phone on the top shelf of my closet, got my socks, and promptly left my phone there.
Nice.
And that basically describes the rest of my day. But I'm doing good now. I'm about to run some voting missions for the election we have going on in whatever the frick that system's called.
Miola.
Vote early, vote often.
Lyoma.
Harris Hospital, the station, is actually one of those that the interior is a what is it called?
Tourist station.
Tourist station, thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here on foot looking around, and it is lit.
Yeah. That's one of the prettier stations around us.
I think it's the only one now in our space that even is a tourist station.
Oh, there's one somewhere else. I just can't remember where it is.
Fair enough. But yeah, that was my day.
Great. Blooming Wind, how do we find you?
Hello, I'm good. Hopefully, I'm going to be bringing some of the non-salts to you tonight.
Yay!
Yay! This Thursday is my 22nd wedding anniversary.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my wife and son were scheming on a Father's Day present for me, and I kind of had a sense of what it was, but she wanted it more than I did. So I kind of short-circuited the whole thing, and I said, do not get me anything for Father's Day because I think I'm buying it for you for our wedding anniversary. So on Saturday, I plunked down for a Blackstone.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah.
I can personally attest to how awesome it is to have one.
Yeah, so we take delivery Wednesday and we'll be using it Thursday. So that'll be very exciting. And
You're gonna season it as soon as you put it up, huh?
yes, exactly. We're gonna season it Wednesday, and then the other thing that happened was
Well, hold on, wait. I'm apparently the only one in the room who doesn't know. I take it this is a cooking device.
yes. So
Yes.
basically,
Some kind of cast iron thing, maybe.
It's a propane griddle, and so you hook it up to your propane outside, and then you have this giant 36-inch wide griddle that you can make pancakes, burgers, anything that uses a griddle. I mean, you could do hibachi, I think. And you know, we love to cook, my wife and I, so it'll be a lot of fun to use that. But you know, I mean, they're advertising the hell out of them on TV. And
the Meyer here has a section that's nothing but like Blackstone stuff over by the grill, all the grill accessories. It's nothing but Blackstone like stuff, like scoops if you're making if you're making something like fried rice or a lot of loose vegetables or stuff like that, or a lot of ground beef, or all kinds of things that you would need. Like they have the hoods that you can put over to help the cheese melt on the burgers faster or on whatever you're making. Different kinds
just use
of
a pan lid
the
for
griddle
that.
spatulas. It's all kind of things.
yep, we
So
plundered.
check that out.
I plundered that section of the hardware store as well
Awesome.
on Saturday when I placed the order. So yeah, we did get the steamer to melt the cheese.
Nice.
So we're excited about that. In other news, Little Blooming Wind's best friend hit his car, or hit my son's truck with his truck today, apparently in the parking lot of the gym because they went to go work out.
I thought you said good news.
No, that's not good news. That's bad news. I mean, the good news is that it was in a parking lot and my son was not in the car when it happened. But to understand this, my son's best friend is blind in his left eye. And when his parents taught him how to park a car, they never really said, gee, because you're blind in your left eye, only park somewhere where there's not a car to your left. And when I taught my son to park, which was very nerve-wracking because my son got a hardship license, so I was like trying to teach him how to drive when he was like almost 15. I taught him about the urinal app. Do y'all know the urinal app?
No.
I sure don't.
So the urinal app is one of these like games or psychological test type things that's, an app on your phone. And basically the idea is what it does is it shows a lineup of a whole bunch of urinals. And like some of them have people standing in them and some of them don't have people standing in them. And it's like, okay, well, which one do you pick? And most people go to a urinal where there's like no one standing next to them.
You just follow the man code of urinal usage.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so I taught my son, you park your pickup truck the same way you use the urinal according to the man code. And his best friend was never taught you park by the code of the urinal.
So
anyway,
nobody ever taught me about the urinal code. That was always just one of those things that just came to me. I just feel like I've always known.
Yeah. But anyway, so his friend's mom called us up and was like, "Hey, I'll pay cash. I don't want this within our insurance because our insurance will double." And we're like, "Whatever, just it'll be fine."
Oh
No. They feed my son. I do not. I mean, they probably paid for more food for my son in the last year than the cost of repairing his car.
Fair enough.
I almost wanted to let them off the hook. It's like a little scratch, but.
I mean,
whatever.
He is a teenager. I get it.
Yeah, 100% of boys that are teenagers are going to get into a car accident before they're an adult, which is why their insurance is so damn high.
Yep.
So that's my life this week outside the game, and then inside the game, I've been doing all the BGS. I mean, setting up Operation Yacht Rock, and then
Freaking Kalarum, man.
Oh, frickin' Kalarum. We may need to talk about frickin' Kalarum because Oblivious sent an open letter to us.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's gotten worse since his letter because, like, the tick finally updated, and that's been making all of this devilishly hard too. Is the ticks are coming through, like, at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and people are like, "What do we do tonight?" And I'm like, "Just look at the numbers and wing it,"
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. We have a good sense of what we want to do. But anyway, so I've been raising bounties in HIP 4907, delivering them to Miola until we started this election. And then now I'm trying to push HIP 4907 into another expansion, so Squadron update is what I've been up to.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right on. Oh, the tick rolling back. That sucks.
Yeah. Every time there's an update.
The tick is physically occurring around 3 o'clock Central Time. It's just you get some systems, and Kalarum happens to be one of them, that it just takes forever for the data to actually cache and update.
Yeah.
I blame ADI.
It's something. It must have something to do with whatever combination of like government types, moment. And it's all that sort of stuff. It is. I'm making excuses. I'm trying to be not salty about TFG.
Yeah, you know how we've seen that the numbers in Elite can go down to like 100th or 1,000th of a number in calculations.
Right.
Well, Kalarum is probably at like 100th of 1,000th of a number, and that's why it takes so long.
Here's a little TFG moment. Since you mentioned that, if you look in the journal, you can go out to, I think it's 6 decimal places with faction influence. Only the first number after the decimal counts for anything. And if you or I were to fly into the same system at the same time and then look at our journal numbers, everything after that first number would be different for each of us.
Of course, because TFG, yeah.
Quick aside, so I'm doing election deliveries right now. I'm in a freaking adder, and they sent an Elite Anaconda after me.
Well, you picked a high-skill mission.
It's not based on what you're flying.
Kill it.
It's a threat level of the mission.
That's why I bring my Mamba.
Yes.
Yeah.
Start doing these in my T10.
There you go. Well, you have these like medium landing pads at outposts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Come
Mamba.
to the dark side.
Yeah.
We have frag Mambas.
You can kill almost anything, and you can leave if you can't.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's the ultimate. It's the ultimate election runner.
Fine, I'll get a Mamba, but not tonight.
And you cannot put all cannons on it. You cannot.
Oh.
I mean, you could, but it would be terrible. The engineering would be a nightmare. Okay. So, all right, I'm going to go. Here's the thing. And I promise we're going to get to some proper Elite Dangerous talk because there's a bunch of community stuff to talk about this week. And then, anyway.
Hey, Trax, why don't you go?
Yeah, how you doing, Trax?
Well, what's going on with you, buddy?
A lot of stuff's been going on, and I'm gonna we took a trip. We did. I've had a bunch of work things, but I'm gonna all of that doesn't matter because there's this thing that happened a week ago today that I've been sitting on. So this happened to my wife, and she was really, really embarrassed about this at the time. But we've talked about it some more, and as we've processed the whole situation, I think she's realized how it's better to talk about this sort of thing, and she really shouldn't be embarrassed about it, and people need to know about this. So, for anyone who does not know, my wife is going into career number 2. She used to be a teacher, and she's in grad school, like past halfway through, I guess, getting another master's degree. She's going into mental health counseling.
Good for her.
So
yeah, excellent.
Yeah, no, it's great, and she loves it. She's thrilled, and they get them to, working with patients or clients, whatever you want to call them, like very early, basically as part of an internship and a practicum and all this other stuff. So she has a roster of clients that she's seeing. She has her professional profiles are all done up, and she's working at places. Actually, she moved because she didn't like the place she was at, and she's doing really well. School takes up a lot of time. We're very busy. Things are scattered, even more than before. It's just like you're handling what's on your calendar, and you're leaving. I'm leaving for the spouse the things that are on their calendar. You know what I mean? And we're scheduled out to the minute on a lot of days of the week. And like on Monday, she's at class. She leaves in the morning. She doesn't get back till like 11 at night. She's working and then she's at class.
I completely understand that scheduling. We have a similar schedule here, a similar way of scheduling.
So I'm like setting the stage for why this could happen to somebody, right? So she's, I think she's in the car or whatever. So she gets a call from somebody and they introduce themselves as Officer so-and-so from the county, the local county here, police. And he tells her, and he gives her a badge number and everything. And he tells her that he is looking for her to come in because she is being held in contempt of court for failing to appear for a subpoenaed court appearance. Where she'd been called as a professional witness, which could happen, right?
Oh,
in her line of work. So she's like, I can't remember. Did I actually forget this? And he gives her a badge number. She like looks up this guy. And he appears to be a real person, right? A real police officer who actually works for this police department. This guy tells her about the time and date that that she had signed this subpoena, and the judge that had issued it and she Googles that person. That's a real judge. And he gets her. She's pretty freaked out at this point. And the other thing that's kind of going on in the background here, I'm kind of telling this story after it's been sort of processed by us, right? So she's very freaked out and all this is going on, but part of the background here is he's speaking to her in this way that is like these intense interrogation technique stuff. Like, I think to a certain extent, police are still trained in this sort of thing, but it's the sort of bullshit that is illegal, but police get away with it a lot, where they convince people to confess to things that they haven't done,
right,
and stuff like that.
Right. They want to get confessions so they don't have to go to trial. Right, exactly. And it's absolutely wrong, and anyone who does that should absolutely be fired from the police force. But anyway, we kind of think that this guy has somehow got trained in this sort of techniques, because that's kind of what he's doing. And so I'm trying to like kind of collapse the story a little bit because it could get pretty long. He gets her so freaked out, and then he also is telling her that there's some reason to kind of move quickly about trying to get this taken care of, and that there'd be some kind of bond that she needs to come up with, and that she needs to come in and we need to like sort of fix this situation. But she's not allowed to tell anybody about it because there's like an order to suppress and all this stuff. And he starts making her, so she's afraid to Google things and afraid to tell anybody, but she's really freaked out and minds are scattered. And he never stops talking, and and eventually this other person comes on, his lieutenant, who also has a badge number and is a real person. And they convinced her to go to the bank and withdraw over $10,000.
Holy crap.
Oh my gosh.
And and so she does this. She gets this, and she is afraid, and she doesn't tell the teller what's going on. She's afraid. She has to go to 2 banks because there's a limit.
Yeah.
And she's afraid to hang up the call. She leaves the call on in her car and doesn't bring the phone with her. And so they tell her that she's going to go to, meet them at the county police station. She knows she's being directed to the police station. So like, how could this be not real, right? How could this be a scam? And sometime after she has the money on her person, he starts saying that he doesn't want her to be around with that much cash. So that she needs to like put it into something else. And, so then he tells her she has to go to like a grocery store where they can like do things like change things into wire transfers and stuff, and he asks her to put it into something, I think it's called Money Pact or something like that, and she starts going hold on, and it breaks apart at that point.
Yeah, it's a money order is what they want.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. It was something else that you wouldn't need an ID to spend, obviously.
And there's no reversing it once you do it.
Yeah. So she starts to catch on, and she starts to poke a little bit, and he won't get off. Like, he never lets go of it. Like, he starts yelling at her. Eventually, she becomes sure enough that she hangs up. One of our close friends is a lawyer, and she called him right away. He has seen and heard some other stories, and he's pretty sure that they were setting her up to be robbed at gunpoint.
That's exactly what was happening.
I'm not sure where, but he said sometimes they could even direct you to a parking lot right near the police station, and they would be able to take care of it so quickly and stuff. So she puts the money back and explains this to the teller. She gets in touch with they called from the actual police phone number. Right, wow. Because this is the other thing. Just PSA, everybody. Phone numbers are meaningless. Yeah, yep. You can call from any number you want to with a little device or an app or something. So
you can do that with text also. Like, because I've been down that road.
Right. So just, I mean, this goes for anything. Don't ever give anyone personal information on a call you didn't place. It doesn't matter what the number says. It doesn't matter if it says it's your mom, because they can call you from your mom's phone number if they want to. So anyway, so she files a police report with the county. They tell her she should file with the local as well. We live like 100 yards from our local police station. Because of the schedule and everything, she doesn't get to them till the next day. She tells me all this story, and she's so freaked out. It takes her like a day or so to kind of get to the point where she's willing to talk about it fully, because she's so embarrassed that she could get taken in like this. But they're so intense about it and everything. I know exactly what she's saying, and
it's scary to think. It's scary as hell. The police, it's like something like
you can't trust them.
Serious business.
And she's targeted, right? Like she's a health professional, and she's available. Like, you can find information about her publicly, and so obviously they can target her. So she goes, and the last part of the story is she files the police report with the local cops here, and that person says, "That's very interesting. I was called to a house just up the road from you, to the home of another healthcare professional later that same day, by people claiming to be the same people that you're talking about here." So apparently I think it was another counselor, was getting this call and was really scared. Their mom or something placed a call to the police. The police came, and when they're in the home of this person, she's still on the phone with the scammer. She puts them on speakerphone, and like, the police are here. Tell us who you really are. And the guy on the phone doubles down. He starts yelling at her that this person is impersonating an officer. I'm the only one you can trust. And she's so freaked out. And so the actual officer is like, "Okay, look, I'm going to leave. You need to hang up this phone, and you need to call the police on your own to verify this," which they do. And then they come back and they get it sorted out. And but they're bouncing right down the line. They finished with my wife, and they moved on to somebody else later that day. Wow. So anyway, they can spoof any phone number. They can do this stuff. It's total madness. I heard about this whole situation after it had basically been resolved, but That
reminds me, like, so back when I had my first cell phone. So this is like 2004. Right. Mm-hmm. I had this little flip phone. It was actually 2005. And I had a message on my voicemail. This is the Anderson Police Department. And Anderson is a city right near where I grew up. I grew up in Elwood, Indiana. Anderson is right near there.
Yeah.
Because I've been to Anderson, a million times. So this is the Anderson Police Department in Anderson, Indiana, and there's a warrant out for your arrest. You have so long to turn yourself in for something, and it scared the life out of me. And I was in the Navy, so luckily the resources I had was I took it to my LPO, my lead petty officer, and we went up and we ended up talking to my division officer, who called right in front of me. He called and talked to the JAG officer on the ship. By the way, if you don't know what a JAG officer is, it's Judge Advocate General. It's like a lawyer in the Navy. That's pretty much what it is. And the JAG officer reassured us that everything was fine. There was probably no warrant. It was there's scams that happen like that, and that reminded me, like, that brought back that memory of a police scam like that.
Yeah, I've gotten calls like that too, but it was obviously meaningless, and this one just so targeted. Oh my god!
I know. They target people, and like they know what they're doing too. Like luckily my wife walked into my mother-in-law's house right as she's pulling up typing in a website to give control of her computer to somebody, and she told them, like, my mother-in-law told him, said, well, let me get my son-in-law, and he was like very adamant that she not get her son-in-law.
Oh, you don't need that. You don't need a son-in-law. No.
Yeah. And I told her, I said, Mom, if you ever say you need to get your son-in-law or someone to help you with this, and they say no, don't do that. Like, don't trust them. Like,
that's the reddest of red flags. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. My wife sends me an email about once or twice a week with, "Is this a scam?" And because she gets all the email scams, and it's just like, I mean, they some of them are kind of convincing, but I'm just like, no, that's a scam. Do not give them any money. It's all good.
I like the ones that say I have a UPS package at a warehouse, but I have to pay for delivery, but it comes from like Gmail, and I'm like, nobody contacting me from UPS is contacting me from a Gmail account.
Worst I've ever gotten is telling scammers dad jokes.
Oh yeah.
Try to waste their time. There's a couple of targeted ones that are about aimed at recording studios, and it's funny.
You serious, Clark?
They're all. What's funny about them is how similar they are. In fact, I got one while we were on our trip. I got an email, and it was like I had to read pretty far down before I get to the spot. But basically, what it all comes down to is they talk to you for a while, and then they say, "Okay, great. Like, I have these 3 singers that want to record, and they're all going to be singing to track." And it's always 3, and they're always singing to like a pre-made track. They're always country singers. They always mention the genre, and they say that it's country music. It's the most bananas thing. Eventually, if you talk to them enough, what happens is they tell you that they're going to be driven there by a driver, and then somehow they like send you too much money, and you're supposed to pay the driver or something insane like that, and it's fake money. And anyway, it's just so weird. At this point, like, I just got one the other day. My reply is always like, so can you tell me, like, does this ever work? And why is it always 3 singers? And like, how come you guys just do the exact same thing every time? And they never reply to me. I'm disappointed. But
no, maybe you might get one that's froggy. I mean, there's lots of really good like scammer videos out there on YouTube and TikTok of people getting a hold of scammers. I've seen ones where they manage to hack so they can see like the company, the building that they're
like real hackers. They accidentally call the real hackers.
Yeah, and they
see a bunch of people like running for their lives.
They get a hold of like the CCTV inside their building and like tells them what they're wearing and calls them by their real names. It's really funny.
Yeah. Okay, we should totally get to some actual elite stuff, though, don't you think?
Oh, why start
I think
now?
so. We've been doing this for like 40 minutes.
No, the recording's like 43 minutes long, and we haven't. Okay, all right, it's time for squad update, and he's looking for the S's, and he's finding it.
Incoming priority message. Squadron briefing.
Alrighty, where did the dang show notes go? Oops, I had it open. All right, so we've got a big election in Miola. Today is day 2. We do not have a score for that yet. I'm hoping it's 1-0. It's for control of the system. We have a war in FF Andromeda, and I know some folks were working on it, so hopefully we're ahead 1-0 in that. And we're trying to push HIP 4907 back into expansion. There are a couple of nice juicy targets. And then we also have, sorry, something happened. So, we also have the Nurgle free. In PPM 41187, we are trying to push the Order of Wan into expansion with the hope of them filling the last hole in Lodemovoi. Lodemovoi?
Lodemovoi, whatever.
Lodemovoi.
Whatever.
Lodemovoi.
Lodemovoi.
Load your movies, boys.
Yeah.
Lodemovoi.
So
Loading the movies.
So those are the main high points, and then Kalarum is a hot mess, and I'll let Nurgle talk about that because Oblivious was been working really, really, really hard trying to almost single-handedly stabilize that place with random
and he's
folks.
Done it.
I've been helping him as well. We both have been there together.
That's true. Lark has been in there a lot.
He
I
did
was about
what?
to give you props, Lark Shadow. I was about to give you props, but
You're a prop.
yeah, I'm a prop.
I worked really hard to make that a hot mess.
Yeah, you excelled at it. Thank you so much.
The only reason we haven't kicked that system to the curb is because of you.
I know. Yeah, I appreciate it.
And Darkports just sounds cool.
Yeah, Darkport. That's why we're there, because Darkport is cool.
Yeah.
The basis of all the problems in Calorum, however you want to pronounce it, is that it's just a micro population system, 85,000. So it's subject to wild swings to begin with, and then apparently there's somebody. I'm going to guess it's Fednex, but it's really hard to tell, that keeps pushing Federation factions up, trying to get them bubbling up. But there's really no way to tell what the source of that is. But it just they just keep picking somebody to push up to try to challenge for system control, and there's not much rhyme or reason other than they seem to consistently pick Federation factions.
I didn't know it was smaller than Snokely Xion. Dang.
Yeah, it's
tiny.
Yeah, it's tiny. And it gets a moderate amount of traffic. You get, on average 25, 30 people a day going through there. A lot of that is us. Some of that is not.
Yeah.
The answer to it being small is, it's hard to hold dictatorial control over a large region of people, whereas 85,000, I feel like it's a good number I can hold on to. So
good round number.
But you're not. So
yeah.
I mean, as
and
long as I'm
we
getting
also
the stuff
know
I
that,
need, I really don't care what they do.
Yeah, and we know it's not our friends from ADI itself, because we almost kicked them out of their own system, and we had our boot on their neck, and they said, "Please let us keep our station," and we fought and beat ourselves 4-3 after we were winning 3-0.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's certainly not them. They're not going to mess with us.
And to be fair, when they said, "Please let us keep our station," our first reaction was, "Oh, you guys are still playing?"
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Sorry, we didn't know. Because they're kind of hard to get a hold of. But they've been good neighbors, so we know it's not them. My only guess at this point is that it's some random Fednex in the area just pushing Fed factions. But even that is just a guess.
What it comes down to is
tumbleweeds of
Teflon.
Fednex.
Yeah,
Teflon needs to come back to Kalarum and eat the Pope. That's all that needs to happen.
I think that would fix it.
Only good things happen when you eat the Pope.
Is it time for another Pope eating?
It's always time for a Pope eating.
It's time.
Yeah, I just feel so bad for Oblivious because he's worked so hard in this system, and he's like, "I'm going away for a long weekend, and I don't want it to fall apart."
Dude, go.
Or like,
take
the
advice.
Be fine.
Yeah, take the advice of a fellow BGS addict. Go outside and touch some grass. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I have to tell myself that all the time.
I have this whole thing balanced on a stack of cards. I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Go, man. It'll be fine. Go touch some grass. Have some fun. Don't play Elite for a weekend. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
I'm going to Kalarum after this election business, so no worries.
Thank you. And we probably need some bounties delivered in HIP 4907 tonight because it does not look like we hit the 75% mark, even though I dropped like 15 million bounties last night.
Well, yeah, we're at 72, and I've already dropped about 8 on them today. So I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay. Slow and steady wins that race. So I'm just going to be doing election missions and election missions and election missions. And Miola is, again, one of these systems where it's a small system, so things can move. It's been remarkably stable until we came in, and then I kicked over a few anthills.
I'll be finishing in Miola here soon, so when I do, I'll update Inara for you guys.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
If by kicked over anthills,
we've got a lot of fun stuff happening in BGS right now, and we're trying to kind of set the table for more expansion into places where we're not going to really tick off neighbors. And that's been really hard because, we have either incompatible systems from a power play standpoint, or we have systems where we have good neighbors and we don't want to tick off the good neighbors, or we have bad neighbors and we really don't want to tick off the bad neighbors. So trying to navigate those paths has been a fun challenge.
Yeah, we're kind of hemmed in where we are.
But I think there's a pathway out.
There is. It's just long and sinuous. It's not easy.
Sinuous.
It is. We have to take some stepping stones out of the general area.
Yeah.
Paint a picture for me, Nergal.
Well, if you have the sinew, can I have the gristle?
I want the marrow.
I can get really graphic. If you imagine loose screw space as a sperm, we're going out.
No, I'm out.
Done.
We're working our way out the tail now to find new pastures.
Yeah.
Nice.
See?
All right.
Science.
Yeah, you did it.
Well, it's been a good run on the podcast.
You made me go there.
With a heavy heart that we bid farewell to Lark Shadow. He'd had enough.
I knew he was too soft to last.
I am not soft, I'm doughy.
SAWFT.
Now. Okay, time for us, everyone here on the show, to take a little break and let the segments play. It's time for.
Wait, should we preface this with what Bard prefaced it with?
Why? Why?
No,
just
I don't
let
think
it happen.
he didn't intend to warn the public, just us.
Okay, well, fire
This
away.
has been your warning.
Yeah, fire away.
All right, so anyway, we've got the Tinhadium Express rolling in, and then we've got a exploration report from Grover Kiwi after that. So here we go.
On the board, the Tinhadium Express!
Really? That's the news this week? The year is 3309 and we still have no cure for headaches. I mean, sure, some are self-inflicted, but I'd argue most are caused by outside influences. You know what? Let's get started. June 5th, the Emperor's ire. Arissa didn't take kindly to being called weak by her nephew.
I don't give a fuck what you trolls say about me, but if there's one thing you need to stop doing, it's putting my family stuff on Facebook Marketplace, bitch. Cause literally, I'm done with this shit, okay? I'm literally done with this shit. Trust me when I say, bitch. Trust me when I say, you're just a little bitch hiding behind a computer screen. You know what? Let's bring that shit back. Hey! Fuck around, find out.
June 8th, the Alliance offers amnesty for Far God cultists. Good old boy Eddie Mahone wants to provide shelter to suicidal cultists.
Stop right there, criminal scum! Nobody breaks the law on my watch!
Okay, look, I get the whole religious freedom thing.
Nothing someone says before the word but really counts.
Not this time, motherfucker. This time it's a so. So why not give them exactly what they want? An all expenses paid one-way trip to a Titan. Everyone wins. The Fatalist dies, the Federation has one less enemy, the Alliance still looks good in the eyes of independent pilots, but no, this shit has to get dragged on in perpetuity for whatever reason because, far God forbid, a plotline has a sensible ending that doesn't resolve itself, being wrapped up mysteriously, shrouded in an enigma, and surrounded by secrecy.
Let the past die. Kill it, if you have to.
Might be a meme, but come the fuck on. Getting tired of these plot lines with simple, satisfying solutions getting dragged out and kept alive on a drip feed for no goddamn reason when other creative stories that we'll seemingly never hear about, looking at you, Mars relics, get the backseat and slow cooked to death while the beatings continue on plot lines that would make sense if they ended now rather than later. Anyone who's followed developing story around as much as I have has seen this pattern time and time again, so all I ask is why? Why are we doing this again? I worry that if I or we don't start asking this question now, side plots like this will keep happening while there's still no answer as to why hundreds of light years worth of seemingly empty space all around the galaxy remain permit locked. Okay, I feel a little better, and while I could keep ranting, I want to keep this relatively short. So, back to our regularly scheduled program.
Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy.
June 9th. Azimuth refocuses on Titan research. Yeah, that rant I just went on about plots that won't die? Mm-hmm.
It's okay. It's like water under the bridge. Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
That's all I've got for you this week. I think I need to murder a bunch of things. You all have fun out there.
The first time somebody told me that, I don't know, I thought they were bullshitting me, so boom, I shot him. The thing is, okay, he was right. And then I started seeing it everywhere I looked, all these fucking pricks, everywhere I looked, doing the exact same fucking thing, over and over and over and over and over again, thinking, this time, it's gonna be different. No, please. This time is gonna be different. I'm sorry. I don't like the way you are looking at me. Okay? You have a fucking problem in your head. Do you think I'm bullshitting you? Do you think I'm lying? Fuck you! Okay? Fuck you! It's okay, man. I'm gonna chill here, man.
Bye! Have a beautiful time!
God. Oh,
11 out of 10.
That was wonderful. Oh my God.
Best ever.
Oh,
he warned me that I should pre-listen to that, and I declined as I usually do. And he's right. He did get me wound up. I feel like the shit I'm mad about is just tied in, braided in nicely with the shit he's mad about.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm also saddened that 3,000 years in the future, or 1,000 years in the future, excuse me, the Facebook Marketplace is still a thing.
I'm still cackling.
This shit was wonderful.
My goodness.
And he's right.
You post something's free, and people ask you how much on the post.
Oh yeah.
It's so good.
Pick up. It's still available?
Yeah, but he's not wrong.
Not at all.
They keep this is going on and on. And I mean, I said I kind of didn't want to be complaining, but like just briefly, like that's how I feel about all this stuff. This Thargoid War stuff's going on, and it seemed like it was really great, but there is nothing right now. There was 4 invasions in the entire galaxy right now. It's back to the way it was before the Thargoid War happened, where you'd have, every Tharg's Day, you'd have a new set of like 3 incursion systems, except back then when you went into the conflict zones to fight them, you had missions that were accomplishable reasonably. You had high-level interceptors like Medusas and Basilisks appearing in those zones regularly. All that's gone. What tiny amount of Thargoid combat still exists in the galaxy is little bits of nonsense that contain, basically just Cyclops stuff that you can fight with multi-cannons, because they don't want anybody to have to, become skilled at AX combat. It's all beginner level stuff. And once again, I get it, make it so that more people can play. Yeah. But if you don't also add high level stuff, then there's nothing else to do. I just got so fed up with the Revenant missions are the coolest thing to do right now. And they're bugging out like half the time, like Data was saying. And last night I was playing, and it's like you sit down and like an hour later you've been dealing with bugs for an hour and not managed to play anything. There's no actual Thargoid combat, and in the whole galaxy, sorry, this thing needs to be turned off. And then so I just left. I went to the Pleiades and found a Medusa and killed it the old-fashioned way with guns.
Good for you.
Nice.
Yeah.
This
just
good
to see if I
old-fashioned
still had it.
Thargoid hunting is.
I'm just gonna find I'm gonna find a end game boss monster and beat it up. And I don't know. I mean, what the tissue samples? This is the thing. Like, tissue samples are winning this war for us, and it's gone on that way for weeks. It was like they made the adjustment, the balance adjustment. We discovered that tissue samples were enough to pound alerts into oblivion in mere hours, and they haven't changed it. It's been months now. So this is, I guess, intentional. They intended us for us to win this war by not fighting the Thargoids at all, and just by sampling their skin over and over again, by the way, because I guess word on the street is all you have to do is find an instance with an Orthrus or something, and then the scouts that follow it in leave one of them alive and just keep sampling it over and over again, because I guess they count just as well as anything else.
Well, like any good alien invasion movie, we are going to science them to death.
Yeah, apparently.
But we got
like
the
that
Anal
movie
Probe
Evolution,
now.
where they used Head and Shoulders.
You went exactly where I was going.
That's why we're friends.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's why I'm salty about this game right now, because there's no war in this war. Like, that can't be intentional.
And that's I think that's absolutely fair, to be completely honest.
Fair to what do you mean?
Fair how you feel, like, because you were right, there were invasions everywhere, and then we discovered what the thing was, and suddenly there's hardly any, which is fine in one way, but it's also in another way. You're exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I don't know.
No, but there's still like in Oya 54 controlled systems. And no one, it doesn't seem like there's a concerted effort to try to claw those back. I mean, I'm not really paying much attention to the war because I'm, dealing with the, all the fires at home. But, I mean, I think that there was a sort of this state. I mean, we're sort of at this stage in the war where, we went from their growing to we're at a stalemate. I mean, this is like World War I trench warfare. And we're not trying to go to the next trench. We're just staying at our trench. And as long as they don't come to our trench, we're good. Because, Oya, we're shutting down alerts like nobody's business. But, I see in the war news occasionally that they're talking about going after control systems. But, I mean, that's in and of itself a long slog. I don't know what kind of action you would see in a control system. But... Yeah.
It should be that these power restore missions are affecting that, and that's probably the best gameplay as far as that's concerned, because the combat gameplay is not that great, as I understand it. I've only done it a little bit, and it's weird, and like you said, without a concerted effort, it's never going to go anywhere. So it's sort of pointless unless you actually are interested in the combat for the combat's sake. And I don't know. I have a feeling here we have the hunter class that turns off our guardian weapons too. So once again, we're back in the same boat. It's the same thing as the Orthrus. It's having to build ships totally differently in order to fight them, and turning off. It's creating difficulty by taking away our good weapons. Is lazy writing.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, but even that would be fine if when you're going after hunters, you're going after hunters. And when you're going after interceptors, you're going after interceptors, and be like, okay, this is a certain kind of system. This is a certain kind of combat zone. We are going after interceptors, and we're going to use our interceptor ships. And then just like in a war, I mean, you're going to send armor in one situation. You're going to send infantry in a different situation. You're going to send the Air Force in a third situation. And it should be thought of, I mean, the gameplay would be more ideal if it was set up so that it's not like, okay, how do I come up with some sort of all-purpose ship because, I could be fighting interceptors and a glaive's going to come along and kick my ass. Or I'm trying to hunt Orthruses and then, a Hydra shows in and I'm like dead because all I've got are multi-cannons. I mean, they could do some jiggers and make that part of it better, but there's also narrative freeze. I mean, okay, we've got these Titans and Maelstroms, but what do we do with them?
Now I can get tissue samples from them, but that's been out for a week and nobody's told me where to bring the tissue samples. We have this thing about Azimuth is now, they're getting back into it. Well, but that news story doesn't include, please sell your Titan tissue samples to us.
Yeah, well, it seems like tissue samples are you can sell them anywhere, but there's no one who wants them for a CG or anything narrative advancing anyway, which is kind of
everyone should just start selling them everywhere.
When you're doing them for the sake of the war, you sell them to the rescue ships. That's how the alerts are all getting cleared instantly. Yeah. So we assume I assume the Titan ones would be sold there too. I've not tried. I have a collection of Titan samples that I got when that was fresh and new. But until there's some kind of narrative thing saying do this with them so that we can learn about the Titan and learn how to take it apart, then I don't know. Am I wrong? Everything I've been taught by the way this game asks to be played says that I should be waiting for a CG or at least some announcement of, if they're competing, sell to Azimuth if you want to support them, sell to Aegis if you want to support them, sell to this engineer. Who knows?
Well, yeah, that whole story.
But you got to tell me something.
That whole story when it came out was boilerplate for how they set up competing CGs. I mean,
without the ending text.
Right.
That says, and now there's a CG.
Right. We were even talking about it in the Discord about this is going to be a competing CG, but it just never materialized. I don't understand that.
Yep.
And I think there's been just general
I totally agree.
narrative.
I didn't mean to cut you off before. I totally agree though about different builds are fine if the gameplay is there, but it's not. What they've done is just insert glaives into some place where we would be using guardian guns, and all we've done is, you got to get the Orthrus, go get them, but in between finding the one every hour or whatever the bad spawn rate is, you have to just spend your time fighting other stuff, and all the other signal sources contain interceptors that you'd be better off with guardian guns for. So what are you going to do? Just keep bouncing back and forth between the builds? And the Orthrus spawn rate was supposed to have been updated. I haven't even checked if that is true or if it was updated enough, because it doesn't matter anymore, because they updated the Orthrus spawn rate weeks after the business with the tissue samples was put into place and basically signposted to us.
According to
Psykit, nobody was doing Orthrus anymore anyway.
According to Psykit, the Orthrus spawn rate is better. When she was out hunting,
she had a great
seemed to
spawn
be
rate
having
to begin
good
with.
luck. Yeah, exactly. So who knows? But I mean, there's a sample. There's a sample at least.
But it doesn't matter because the effectiveness of doing tissue samples in alert systems is so great that it doesn't matter. Orthrus was actually a slightly interesting bit of plot,
right.
effective story, but that's gone because the most effective thing is tissue samples because you can just stockpile a ton of them and you can get them all very fast. It makes no narrative sense that I can see, but that's what's happening, and it's been going on for ages. It's not like something that got a rebalance a week or two later. So I'm just fed up at this point. Like, I literally don't care what happens. And that's a super bummer. The height of this game's this whole thing that's going on in the game right now is about the Thargoids. It's like that's the major thing that's affecting all the plot lines and everything. And the height of Thargoid combat and interaction was the Battle of 22-460 before Salvation had fired his thing off. That's when we had capital ships involved, and it was fantastic. Everybody was there. We were shooting them. High-level interceptors would show up and actually fight us. It was fantastic. It was amazing. It was fantastic. And it's all gone. No battles like that ever happen anymore.
I have some good news for you.
Bring back Salvation.
Oh, gosh.
I'm flipping teams. Bring back Salvation. The game was fun when Salvation was in it.
The glory days.
Yeah.
I have some good news for you. Back in Miola, and we are up 1-0 on the election there.
Woohoo!
And if I can circle back to cannons on a Mamba, that reminded me that Flint actually tested this. If you do short-range blaster, which actually slows down the shell on a huge cannon, your Mamba can actually go faster than your shell after you fire it.
Did you say your mama can go faster than your shell?
Oh, Mamba.
That's what I heard.
Mamba.
That's not useful information.
But you can shoot yourself with a huge cannon.
Fun, and now I want to go try it.
That is shinfo, shitty info. Okay, I want that to be the end of my bitching. Does anybody have anything else they want to add?
I will just say that the root of the disconnect with the current state of Thargoid combat is they have created two separate, mutually exclusive, yet still overlapping forms of Thargoid combat. So you have the stuff you use Guardian guns for, and then you have the stuff that dissolves Guardian guns, and you're likely to encounter either, and there's no way to equip for both.
Yep.
And that's just, I'm sorry, it may have a narrative reason, but it's shitty gameplay.
I'm gonna quote the engineer from Team Fortress 2. Use more gun.
Yeah, they're taking them away though. That's the thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
That's the thing. Instead of creating an enemy that is harder to beat, or a class of Thargoid ship that has a different routine and flight mechanics and pathways that we have to go through to beat it, like the Interceptors, they gave us a new one that deletes our Guardian guns and is otherwise just a bullet sponge. Yeah, that's wildly uninteresting.
Yeah.
Even if they had like Guardian gun resistance instead of melting all your equipment,
right?
I mean, that would be fine. But I think, like I said, because you don't have to swap out your ship. It's just you're like, okay, I'm going to have, a Corvette with 7 hard points, and 6 of them are going to be something either Guardian or AX, and then I can kind of handle a couple of different situations with those, hexa, like the hexa cutter or whatever. But something like that would be reasonable. But
if before anything new showed up and we're speculating what's the new thing going to be, it was, well, look, you can keep going like they did with the Interceptors. Each one has more armor, more hearts, just more difficult, but it's the same pattern. you could make it more difficult by, okay, this one's resistant to guardian weapons, so they just do less damage. That's one way to make it more difficult, but you still at least have to go through the process of working through its pattern of attack and things like that. Like it has a series of events that you have to do and adapt to and prevent special attacks and stuff like that. But it's just harder. That's an option. It's boring. But they chose the different, in my opinion, even worse option, which is you just take away the guardian guns and then we're left with this. It's like I can't do either effectively. And I'm in a system, floating around in a system, and if I find an Orthrus, I have to be loaded this way, but every other signal source that comes out, I ought to be loaded the other way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest problem with that.
So I have thoughts on this.
All right.
Like actual thoughts, not my usual sarcastic comments that may or may not be funny. And this is getting into tinfoil zone, just for the record. But I think we, as an entire community, have completely missed something in regards to 22-407, wherever Salvation frickin' air quote died.
22-460.
That's the one, thank you. And the reason I think that is because I think the only reason that any Thargoids can melt Guardian tech is because the base in 22-460 is still active. I think if that's shut off somehow, suddenly the Thargoids, even the Maelstroms, lose the ability to melt our Guardian tech, and that changes the entire game. Tinfoil off.
All right, I will answer that tinfoil with some analysis. So this is idea in tabletop role playing that if you, as the game master for whatever game you're playing, create this wonderful, beautiful puzzle for your players to solve, and no one at the table understands it, it's probably not good gameplay. So,
I'm with you there.
My answer to that would be, if they've left some carrot out there that we've just overlooked, honestly, they buried it so deep, that's just not good gameplay.
It's not even that they buried it deep, though. We can't get to that device.
As they have made it.
But it's inaccessible. It's not even that it's obscure. Like, we can't access it. It's not like nobody's thought, oh, let's turn off that surface site that's all fucked up.
I don't know. Has anyone tried to land on the planet since, recently?
It was locked before all this went off.
Yeah.
That didn't change.
Oh, I thought that might have changed.
For one thing, the whole system melts Guardian guns. That's fine. That's beside the point. But yeah, no, the whole thing is locked. We can't approach that site at all.
Gotcha. That's what my gut says, and that's what I'm sticking to. It has something to do with that.
If you're right, if there's a way to remove their Guardian melting abilities, and that's going to come later and sort of resolve this, and we're just in limbo right now, like, what am I supposed to do now? Because there's nothing I'm working toward. Nobody's told me where to take my Titan samples. There's nothing for me to do about that as the player. So all I'm doing is just waiting for them to turn the page, I guess.
Right. I mean, it's a railroad of a story, which is why I don't think there's something we've missed. Because if they have actually created this 32-step Rube Goldberg device that has the secret to beating the Thargoids hidden better than Raxxla, that's just piss poor gameplay. And as much as I rag on FDev for making bad decisions, I don't think they're that bad.
Well, they clued us to the last thing that they felt like we missed was shoot where they're going to be, even though we'd already tried that.
And they had to, because they had buried it so deep.
Yeah.
And
made it so difficult, it made it so ineffective that we gave up.
Right. So that was their way of saying, hey, guys, we changed this. So
exactly.
I don't think there's something we've missed. I think we're just waiting to be railroaded into the next section of the story.
Yeah. The storyteller needs to turn the page.
Right.
Because there's...
Moving on.
And the storytelling's been slow. Sorry.
Yeah.
But the storytelling, it's been a little bit ponderously slow. And then, honestly, I mean, it's been also at a neglect of the rest of the galaxy. I mean, yeah, I know that there's a major war going on, but, some other CGs would be, and some other storytelling that actually goes somewhere
There's
would be
a war,
kind of
but life
pleasant.
goes on. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I brought it up in the with the Bard that this whole Far God thing for the first ever community goal, and either you could be like, moving,
I'd love to see that.
Ferrying
trafficking,
the Titan's maw.
cultists or whatever, participate in the Fed's ethnic cleansing of Federation space. Or
so
whatever.
I actually look at passenger missions fondly because that's how I made my first 1 million credits in Elite.
Because
I mean, the Lark Shadow, passenger Mamba,
Lark Shadow Express.
if there was one of those sightseeing passenger missions for Farguard cultists want to see the Titan, Dubs would be ejecting them.
Feed them all.
I mean, if you ever want to know what Dubs would do, I mean, the safe bet is ejecting passengers or slaves
exactly.
somewhere.
True story.
Or getting your SRV stuck somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand the need for slow storytelling in a giant game like this because you want to give people an opportunity. Not everybody gets to play every day or every week even, and I respect that. It's a good choice. But without anything to do right now, like this is they have levers that they can pull, and they do pull them. Like anybody who listened to Lave last week, they had a really interesting guest. It's who's been investigating and just monitoring and gathering data about the Thargoids and how they expand and stuff like that. And one of the takeaways is like, yes, they do have levers they pull. They make adjustments to the way things work on the fly. Sometimes they're announced, but sometimes adjustments happen in the background and you can see it in the data, but they didn't announce it. So both of those things happen, and that's fine. I don't think that invalidates them saying that they created this thing that's going to move on its own, because they're just sort of adjusting the rules through playtesting to make it go in a fun way. But where we've landed with this tissue samples deleting all combat is bullshit, and that's not fun. And so now it's like, and without something else, there's no other CGs going on that are interesting that I'm gonna go off to, and come on. I mean, they have to see it. They have to see how boring this is.
Well, if I can make a segue for you, you could always explore.
You could.
Nicely done.
Love it. Let's check in. Let's check in with Grover Kiwi in the exploration report.
Whether one moves slowly or with speed, the one who is a seeker will be a finder. Rumi. And this is the exploration report. So we're at that part where we finally get to scan planets and moons. If you haven't bought a detailed surface scanner, sorry, you're going to have to turn around and get one. They take up a single optional module slot and can be found as an unengineered module for 250,000 credits, or if you have the materials needed, you can get a pre-engineered one from a tech broker. You need to bind the detailed surface scanner to a firing group, and it can only be used when in analysis mode. I use my secondary fire button. You need to fly within range of the planet you're scanning, while in supercruise, and also be travelling slow enough to use the detailed surface scanner. It will tell you if you're out of range or too fast. Use the chosen fire button to activate it. While in supercruise, aim for the planet and press the same fire button to launch a probe at the planet. Now, there's no way on a podcast to show you how to do this efficiently. You just have to go and try it, and you will figure it out. You can move your aiming reticle around to aim at different parts of the planet and launch as many probes as you need. You can aim outside the edges of a planet and gravity will pull the probe back in, and that's how you can send a probe to the far side of the planet without having to actually travel there. Each planet will have a suggested number of probes to use to reach an efficiency bonus. Engineering your DSS will help you reach this bonus, as well as saving you some time. While you don't have to get the bonus, and you can use as many probes as you want, getting the bonus gives you another 25% of the planet's scan value, so it can be very well worth the effort. New to Odyssey, a fully scanned body can highlight different areas on the planet if it contains biological or geological elements. You need to bind buttons to scroll through the different types of surface samples you can find. A type of heat map will show you where each sample can be found on the surface. We will cover plant scanning in a different episode, but we hope you have found the past guides to exploration useful, even if you are a seasoned commander. This series was a request from a community member, and we're happy to take on other suggestions. In exploration news, by the time this episode airs, the Intergalactic Research Analytical Expedition would have just begun. One of its goals is to promote research activities in the Russian ED community, and a link to it can be found in the show notes. Finally, a huge shout out to Commander Robin Hood, who has put together a truly excellent document for anyone interested in exploring, with exploration-focused module descriptions, pre-engineered module requirements, and a number of example ship builds. It can be found pinned in the exploration channel of the Loose Screws Discord. This has been your exploration report, coming to you live from the future. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it. It's not wearing pants. Oh, hang on, it's just Teflon.
Oh dear.
That's true.
Called out.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. That's true.
What are you going to do,
Truth.
right?
Yeah. I don't know why you're all probably wearing pants.
Because when I don't wear pants, people throw garbage at me.
I'm wearing short pants.
That's a really weird thing to say, and I'm just going to pass right over that.
All right.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I dig it. Thanks, Grover. Notes are in the notes, as the man says. Yeah, well done.
Yeah,
from the
great
future.
exploration report.
Good stuff.
All right, so there's some more community stuff going on here. First of all, we got to mention that Michael Brookes passed away a few days ago. One of the producers of Elite Dangerous at its start, and responsible for just tons and tons of the lore, how the game came to be and what it was then and where it is now. This is all unfortunately over on this show. We've got it mostly filled with people that kind of weren't around for the early Kickstarter days and things like that. But
I came around right after the Kickstarter, right after the game launched.
I came around during the Horizons Commander Pass, whatever that was called.
Okay, all right. Well, before
I came
me,
around
then,
in 1984 or 2020, depending on how you want to count it.
Yeah, I played Elite 1984, so.
Okay, all right.
He was already like 48 in 1984.
So is Nurgle like Christopher Lloyd? He's just been like 50 years old for like 40 years.
There can only be one.
Wow. Well, so in honor of Michael Brookes and the legend that he was, Drew Wagar is planning a lore tour thing, and I think I've correctly updated the link because it's been sort of a moving target, but it's looking like it's going to happen on June 29th, if I have that right. And there's a link there to a Twitter post about it, so you can get more info, kind of see what the plan is. But they're going to go explore locations that have to do with Michael Brookes' writing and his station in the game and other things like that. So check it out on June 29th. In other news, BuckyBall is going on. Tunnel-ish Vision is still running for a few more days as this comes out. Link to a fun YouTube video trailer for that if you want to participate. Anybody doing BuckyBall?
Just Boobtron, I think.
Yeah. Still into it. Chig wanted to do it. I don't know if he's managed to get to, but anyway. I have not, but that is my failure. And no one else's.
I'm going to be building a regulation Cobra at some point, but unfortunately, the BGS beckons. So every time I want to do something, something goes on fire.
Right, the BGS hasn't been beckoning lately. It's been yelling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so links to BuckyBall is there, Tunnel-ish Vision. And okay, so this already happened. I guess this was today, and I think it's already concluded or is about to conclude as we're recording this, but there was another planetary collision happened. This time an atmospheric planet. So that's what's new about it.
Yeah.
Nice.
What you were going to say?
Just that you're correct. It's at least one atmospheric. They may be both atmospheric, and it's about I think 700 and something light years from us. It's just 1.5 carrier jumps. It's not too far away at all.
Not too far. The whole thing is gonna take about 24 hours to happen apparently. But I saw some screenshots from it earlier today, so I know it had already begun several hours ago.
I mean, it's not really collecting; it's just assets moving through each other.
Yeah, right? I mean, it's a game bug, right? You sort of get to see weird things happen because the game doesn't really have the logic to deal with actual
planetary collision. Oh man, wouldn't that be cool though?
Oh, that would be awesome.
I know.
I would love to see a supernova too.
New asteroid field detected.
Everybody would race there to scoop up the valuable minerals that you could go sell.
Now we'd all be watching the supernova like, oh, that's so pretty. Hey, that's coming kind of fat.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but we can travel between stars in a few seconds. So supernova would be this sort of just easy to walk away from thing.
Well, I mean,
you could
also
watch from a distance.
A supernova isn't a planets colliding. A supernova is a star exploding.
Yeah. So just imagine the exclusion zone on that star.
Right.
Moving outward at nearly the speed of light.
Yeah.
And I'd be the one schmuck that got interdicted into it by a harmless pirate.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you would technically feel the effects of something like that more than in various systems around that, and ones around those as well.
Yeah, but only communicated at the speed of light, or almost the speed of light. That's what I'm meaning.
That's true. That's true.
If you were in a neighboring system and you saw it, you would see that it happened 4 years ago or whatever. If you're very close.
So, if you're in Maori doing election stuff, and the neighboring system, Aloni or Baloney or whatever it's called, went supernova, I was sitting in 12 days, and I was sitting in Super Cruise listening to Bard's segment when I saw that. And so it goes supernova, and 12 days later, by Maori.
Well, no. You said is 12 light years away?
12 days at the speed of light.
Binary.
12 days to the speed of light is
12 light days.
They're in the same system. They're two stars.
I'm sorry. I get it. It's a distant binary. Okay, yes, exactly. So you could be within the system, and you'd be 12 days away from knowing that it had happened. Yes,
exactly. I think that would be neat.
Even though we can go in Super Cruise at 2,000 times the speed of light and just go there and find out.
And you'd watch it grow as you get closer.
Right. You'd be racing to catch up in time to its time frame. And
stellar screenshots would only be that.
That's fun.
What's next?
What's next is I didn't add this one. Tell me about PitCon 2023.
They're having a convention in Nottingham, England, September 16th.
Ooh.
If you're having an event called PitCon, you really should have a barbecue pit there. I'm not saying they're not gonna. I'm just saying like there should be one.
They're English. They're not going to have a barbecue pit.
What do they have instead?
A barbecue pit and some nice sandwiches.
Flavorless boiled meat.
I don't know.
Also, I'm sorry, everyone in the UK.
It's like Alistair in Dragon Age when he makes that joke about Ferelden cooking. He says, basically, the Ferelden way of cooking is when you put a bunch of meat and vegetables into a pot, and you let it stew and let it cook until it turns a uniform gray color. That's how you know it's done.
Just describe the entire English diet. No, I know Burr is an occasional listener to the podcast, so if he wants to tell us, friend of the show, so if he wants to tell us more about PitCon, he's welcome to come on and tell us more about PitCon.
I would love to hear more about PitCon. I mean, I can't go, but I'd love to. I'd love to know more and see things and hear things about all it is, because I wish I could go.
If you put in a barbecue grill, Teflon has volunteered to be the pitmaster as long as somebody flies him over.
Assuming they're all still friends with us after the last few jokes.
Well, yeah.
That's fine. We sling back and forth.
We sling back, we say worse things to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, that's arguably true.
I mean, it is on brand.
Shadow.
Love you too, Taff.
Night, John.
It's 2.5 hours from London. And the convention is 2.5 hours from London, and there's a direct from Nashville.
Isn't that a long way in England? Don't they think that's a long
They think that's
way?
a long way. That's like far. Like, UT is farther away from Nashville, and we consider it nothing to head over to Knoxville for a football game.
Well, I mean, it sounds great. I would love to know more about PitCon.
So
if I could be the pitmaster, I would totally do it.
So Burr Pitters, challenge extended. Come tell us about your con.
Yeah, there we go.
Convince us.
So according to Expedia, I can get from Boise to Nottingham, England in 3 flights and about $1,500.
Yeah, but then you're going to deal with the sheriff that's there. It'd be a whole thing.
Yeah, they probably won't let me take my arrows on the plane, huh?
Probably not.
I think that joke caused Trax physical pain.
I'm like waiting. Okay.
Like,
all right.
What does an aneurysm feel like?
I'll be supremely disappointed if PitCon doesn't have an archery contest.
I'm not going to go on with this joke, but I want to.
Let's move on. We're running long. Let's talk about the end. That's all I have in notes. So what do you guys would take it away, people, with the ending stuffs?
Okay, how about the cheese of the week? Would you like to hear the cheese of the week?
How about it?
That's too bad. I'm going to tell you about it anyway. So the cheese of the week is called akawi. It is Middle Eastern cheese, and it's named after the city of Acre, though that's probably not the way they pronounce it over there. And it's in northern district of Israel. And I know that because of the first Assassin's Creed. So in Arabic, akawi means from Akka. It is a soft, unripened brine cheese with a chewy, smooth consistency and a very mild, slightly salty flavor. I don't know where you can get it, but it sounds really good. Chig's probably had it.
Chig probably knows where you can get it.
Yeah, he's got a guy.
Probably does. He has a cheese dealer.
Nice.
Anyway, movie anniversaries. So it is today. It has been 10 years since the movie This Is the End. I don't know if any of you have seen that. It is a comedy, and the world does end.
Wow.
Way to give it away.
The 2012
spoiler alert.
The 2012 End of the World stuff.
Is
I remember
Mayan calendar
work that day and saying this is the worst apocalypse I've ever experienced.
I think I have seen that. I don't really remember it.
It's one of those like dick and fart joke comedies.
Yeah.
It's got It's got like Seth Rogen and Michael Cera. It's got their whole group in it, and they play themselves.
That explains why I've never seen it.
I think doesn't Emma Watson shows up too? Yeah, I think it's coming back to me. It was like pretty funny,
I haven't actually watched it. I just know about it.
Doesn't pretty
also,
funny.
It's been 10 years since The Man of Steel.
Meh.
I remember that movie. I saw that in the theater.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good up until the third act when the two invincible people fought each other.
When they had a Dragon Ball Z fight?
Yeah.
Like when they totally destroyed Smallville and demolished most of Metropolis.
Yeah. They ruined everything except each other because they're invincible, and that's like stupid.
And he broke Zod's neck.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden one of them isn't invincible.
I don't know if I want to be Superman anymore.
Superman's not supposed to have ennui.
Stupid.
All right, next on the list.
Snyder Superman. Next on the list is the Incredible Hulk 15 years ago.
Was that the terrible one or the bad one?
Eric Bana Hulk?
This is the
or the Edward Norton Hulk.
15 years ago would be 2008.
Ed Norton.
It's got to be the Norton.
This would be the Ed Norton one because I think the other one was 2005.
Right, so it's just
the bad guy in that one was bad.
Yeah.
Emil Blonsky.
The next one is Last Action Hero from 30 years ago.
Yeah, decent movie.
No
I
comment.
missed that one.
Mildly
I don't think
entertaining.
I've ever seen it.
You're not missing much.
The next one after that is Superman 3, the greatest superhero movie ever made.
So the conversation we had before the show was, wait, there was a Superman 3?
Yep.
So just to save everybody out there who's listening, both of you, don't Google Superman 3 because you will get the trailer and it's like 3 minutes and I don't know, like 12 seconds long. And that will be 3 minutes you'll never get back.
There you go. You will get the trailer and that'll be 3 minutes you'll never get back.
There's a reason why no one remembers that movie.
Oh, I remember it.
I think it's because I didn't see it, but go on.
I didn't see it either. I didn't even remember it existed until I Googled it.
No.
What was it? What did you? You echoed in and out.
Does Superman get drunk in it?
Yeah. Does he get drunk in that one? He splits into.
Yeah, this is the one. But it's not Superman who gets drunk. It's Bizarro. I mean, they have Bizarro in it, and they don't call him Bizarro. Like
This is from the era where they wouldn't use the real names for stuff in comic book movies because they weren't quite sure they actually wanted to be making a comic book movie.
It's Superman. No. I don't know why they didn't just lean into it's Bizarro when they created Bizarro.
It's like saying, why did they change all that stuff in the original Super Mario Brothers movie? Because they don't really want to make that.
Yeah.
Anyway, last one I have here is 45 years ago, Grease came out.
The best movie on the list.
I think everybody's probably seen that.
Yep.
Multiple times.
I think only Nurgle and I saw it in the theater here.
Probably.
If I had better planning ahead skills, I would have totally grabbed a clip from it to something funny. By the way, also, I should post it in the Discord, or I think I did one time. It's the Grease Lightning if it had music, if it was just singing, and you can hear like their shoes squeaking. It's really funny. You should go watch it.
That sounds awful. I want it.
Yes.
Yeah. Grease, though, has one of the best fan theories. Like, you know how they have those fan theories where, like, someone comes up with, like, this crazy tinfoil hat, like, theory about a movie?
I know of it.
Well, like, Grease's was that the whole movie is Sandy's vision before she dies. Because, like, at the beginning of the movie, she's drowning, and John Travolta rescues her, and then they coincidentally meet in high school after, like, that summer. And the whole movie is like basically her dream before going to heaven, and then like the car going up into the sky is her finally going into heaven after she's reconciled her death or something. It's like this really bizarre fan theory, but it's kind of hilarious.
I mean,
I can see that.
Car going up to the sky kind of makes that theory, because, like, what was the deal with that?
I think it was just artistic license.
They didn't have flying cars in the 50s.
Yeah.
It's about drugs and an unwanted teenage pregnancy.
And surrealism.
Yeah.
I like Family Guy's take of it, where they're just still in the air at 14,000 feet and freezing to death. And he's like, I don't know, babe, I can't get it to go down.
That one got me.
Babe. All right, let's end on that. So I understand that the robot is fully offline, and that's okay. Give
This
the poor
Teflon
guy a
bod
break.
is broken. I have to fix him.
Yeah, it's fine.
He broke with Kalarum.
Nevertheless, we managed to come up with quite an episode, and I appreciate you all joining me tonight. And I appreciate everybody who listens to the show, because without you, there would be no listeners. And that's a fact. So, anyway, if you like the show, it would be awesome if you could share it with somebody. And if you really like the show, you can wear the show on your body by going to loosescrewsed.com and checking out our merch store. There's hoodies and there's mugs. You can drink stuff out of us. You can wear us on your hoods. And then if you still haven't got enough, you can go over to patreon.com/loosescrewsed and become a supporter of the show. And that helps us do fun things, which I swear we're going to do someday. That's the story. What do you think? Anything else I should throw in here? There's a bunch of grease memes are going in the recording booth chat right now, so I assume that's why nobody's talking, because they're basically doing that instead. I'll just say that it was a pleasure being on a podcast with you, and thank you for joining me. Teflon, Nurgle, Data, Lark Shadow, and Blooming Wind.
The last one got me.
Yeah.
The moral of Grease: why be yourself when you can be?
Don't say that live on the podcast.
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just said.
Oh my god. Okay. That's going to do it for us here at the Loose Screws podcast. We will see you next week.
Bull
oh my god.
Woods, if you will.
Stop it. Stop.
The Tower of Power,
say good night,
too sweet
everybody.
to be sour.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Sky's the limit.
Bye.
No, I'm stopping it.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.